It's 9 o'clock coming up. He can play two guitars simultaneously and has been in the finals twice at the International Ukulele Contest in Hawaii.
Then I flew to Hawaii, to Honolulu. And then the way they introduced me, they said, Daniel Purnomo from Bishan, Singapore.
And over 18 years in Singapore, he's performed at countless venues and played with the best musicians here. Daniel Purnomo's Singapore story is coming up, but first the news.
Then I accepted as one of the finalists. Then I flew to Hawaii, to Honolulu. The way they introduced me during my performance, they said, Daniel Purnomo from Bishan, Singapore. Yeah, because I fill up the province. I know that there's no province in Singapore, but I thought that the system won't work if I didn't key in something, so I key in Bishan. Since then, the name of Bishan is mentioned in Hawaii. Yeah.
His technique enables him to play as a band in the guitar, or some people have called him the self-accompanied solo guitar, and this is achieved by simultaneously playing chords, bass lines, and melodies with only one guitar. And over 18 years in Singapore, he's performed at countless venues and played with the best musicians here and coaches award-winning ukulele players as well. At the International Ukulele Contest, he was placed in the finals in 2018 and 2019. Today's Singapore story comes to us by way of Surabaya, Indonesia, and belongs to guitarist Daniel Purnomo.
I was born in 1975 in Indonesia, so I grew up as an engineer, that's my formal education back then in Indonesia. But the funny thing is, after I graduated, I worked as a musician, because of my passion. So I played music in the hotel, 5 stars hotel, 4 stars, and also I played for wedding and event. Then I thought that, I want to be more serious in music. That's why I came to Singapore. I enrolled to Lasalle, the College of the Art. And then 2008, I graduated from Lasalle. And then after that, I become a so-called a full-time working, Then I work as a musician, as a songwriter, that's my passion basically. And then I do a lot of experiment with music. And then on 2010, I was experimenting in playing an electric guitar with only one hand, which is the left hand. Because I thought with electric guitar, I can just play with the volume. If not loud enough, I can just bring up the volume, from the amplifier. So at the end, just by a little touch on my left hand, I can play one guitar. So this technique is called tapping or touchstyle. Then since then, I think there's a possibility. It means I can play one guitar with one hand. So my right hand is free. I build up another neck on top of the other neck of the guitar, and then I design it in such way until the gap between those two necks not that big. So because I don't need to insert my hand between the necks. So yeah, that's pretty much. Since then I practice, I've been practicing playing two guitars with both hands independently, so-called. So.
And how many years have you been? In a way, you're based in Singapore, are you?
Yes, I'm based in Singapore.
So how long have you been based here?
It's pretty long. Since 2003, I came here for study. So it means 17 years, more than that. Now it's New Year.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
You were originally from Indonesia.
Yes.
You were born in Surabaya, right?
Yes, that's
Tell
right.
me more about your earlier years in Indonesia. What were they like? What were your growing up years like? Your childhood and all that?
Oh, my childhood, I was pretty much so-called like projected as engineer. I think my family background and
Even from a very, very young age,
yeah,
they expected.
yeah, it's true. Because I don't think at that time, music was very hype, and we are not from the family of an artist. It's just when I listened to jazz music at that time, I didn't even know it's jazz. It just happened that my dad was about to throw some of the old cassettes from my grandpa. So then he just listened one by one, and then it happened that he played some cassette, and I was like, wow, what kind of music is this? Then he saw, oh, it is jazz. He saw the cover because he wasn't paying attention also. So I thought, oh, okay, so this is fun. It really resonated well with my heart, I find it. So since
How
then,
old were you?
I think I was like 13 or 14,
Okay.
teenager. Before that, I didn't like music.
Okay.
So it's a bit...
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. I mean, I listen to pop not because I like it. It's just, a lot of my peers, they listen to pop music. So, but it
It's just a
doesn't really...
teenage thing.
Yeah, it doesn't really interest me.
Okay. But then at the age of 13, 14, when your dad decided to discard his father's cassette tapes, that was when you accidentally fell in love with jazz. Do you remember what sort of artists or what that your grandfather was listening to?
Yeah, at the time, Cannonball Adderley, if I'm not... I think, Cannonball Adderley, bossa nova, saxophone.
Yeah. Okay. So more the instrumental types.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So at that time, you knew you liked it. So did your dad let you keep the cassette tapes?
I think so. Yeah. And then after that, then I chose, whichever jazz, then I just listen to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you able to explain why you liked the music so much?
I think to me, it gives me... back then, I didn't really know what happened, but I just like it. But I think that there's an uplifting, groove there, in which jazz more accented on the upbeat rather than the downbeat. And then the chord is the harmony is very rich. And then in the end, it sounds like very playful and spontaneous. So to me, I like it that way. So it's not so predictable, but more refreshing to me.
Expected to become an engineer? Well, he did actually for about a month or less. Yeah, probably less, before his love for music consumed him. And since then, he's been performing at various places in his hometown, in his homeland of Indonesia, as well as over 18 years here in Singapore, countless venues and playing with the best musicians here as well. Not to mention being in the finals twice at the International Ukulele Contest in Hawaii. He's got 2 albums out already. We're listening to one of the tracks taken from his album, My Childhood Recollection. Amazing Grace is groovy. And Daniel Purnomo's Singapore story continues after we check on the roads. Singapore Stories with Eugene Lowe.
And then it happened that my teacher also, he was pretty famous in my hometown. And then starting from there, I also learned some classical just to strengthen my technique. And then I learned some theory also. And then after that, I've got some opportunity to play in the hotel, and it was like I was so jittery, I couldn't even play one note.
And since that fateful debut, he's played at countless venues in the finest hotels, at live festivals, music shows, weddings. Quite a few of them, he says. And played with the best musicians here and in Indonesia. And he coaches award-winning ukulele players as well. He himself has been in the finals twice at the International Ukulele Contest in Hawaii. Today's Singapore story belongs to guitarist Daniel Purnomo.
The band leader in the hotel, he was needing a sub, because his guitarist couldn't make it on that particular day. Then he was the friend of my teacher. Then I think my teacher recommended me to him, So I was just there, stood up there, and then among the professional musicians, I was pretty jittery,
Okay. That was your first performance, yeah?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But starting from then, I was in my university, because I took industrial engineering. Then after my graduation from the university, then I decided to, let's try to make it even more professional. And then I applied as a musician in 5-star hotel with my other 2 friends, and then we accepted. So since then, we just keep playing on music.
Right. Okay. But even before that, what was the first instrument you picked up, or has it always been the guitar?
Yes.
Okay. So why the guitar?
Why the guitar? Yeah, I think the guitar is like very portable, and yet my parents, suggested me, why don't you play guitar, at that time. And then I've got some encounter with guitar when I was even earlier, in my elementary school. But I didn't like it. It was like classical, and I was forced to study. So I quitted. Within 1 year, I quitted. I didn't know anything. It's just a note, and the teacher asked me to press this one is this one, this one is this one. But I didn't really understand what's going on until I listened to jazz, and then after that, my parents said, "Okay, why don't you try to learn strumming also?" So they called somebody from our church back then. He played guitar very well, and he can lead worship spontaneously also. So I learned from him also. So I got some basic. So I thought, now it makes more sense. Then
so your parents supported you.
Yeah,
They didn't discourage you at all.
No, they just actually back then was like they forced me, But the second time was pretty much I was okay, because the first time I didn't really like. But after that, the second time I was pretty much okay because my teacher also explained the logic behind the music. So there's some logical things I could pick up from him. And then that's why now whenever I teach music, I also explain step by step, and there's a concept I can explain to my student.
So did you ever become an engineer?
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I work as an engineer in my field only for 1 month.
Okay, that's hardly counted.
Yeah. And minus Hari Raya. The Hari Raya holidays in Indonesia is like about a week, right? So minus that Hari Raya period. So
less than a month.
Less than a month.
But it's on your resume.
Yes.
Really? Okay, so after less than a month, you decided, okay, this is not for me. I'm going to be a full-time musician. Was that how it happened, or what?
Yes, because I find that at that time I found that I felt so guilty because I couldn't practice my passion, So as if like the guitar called me, hey, come here, play. Yeah. So what I did was I keep playing. In fact, I was playing I think 6 nights a week. In a regular basis, and then I play for wedding gig a lot, and in daytime I teach students because once the school finish, right, like my students, they are usually school students, what I mean. So about like afternoon, after the school time finished, then I go to their place, like I think one day I have like 2 or 3 students.
Wow.
And then after that, then I went directly for my gig.
Okay.
So,
do you remember why you did so well then? I mean, was the culture, was the society or the culture environment then very geared towards a musical sort of culture? Was music trendy or fashionable at the time?
In my hometown, I think people took it as a hobby,
Right.
but it happened that, I was blessed back then also, to have such opportunity. And then from the words of mouth, I could get like many students and, many opportunity to perform also.
Okay, that's great. Okay, I mean the crowds must have loved you, right? I mean, your employers in a way, I mean the venues that employed you continued to employ you. They were quite big hotels and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, the longest hotel was Shangri-La. I mean, the longest hotel that I worked with is actually Shangri-La. But the rest, I move places. I move to another hotel, then come back to the same hotel again. And then some cafe, Independence Cafe also.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure that one out. But yes, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, given a new rendition called Twisty Twinkle Little Star, played there by Daniel Purnomo, who's you can call him a jazz guitarist, but really he plays all sorts of genres, I suppose, with a pop-oriented style. He composes as well, and he's released 2 albums. One Christmas one, which is called Yuletide, Ukulele Day Mood, with ukulele incorporated into the title there. He plays the ukulele very well as well, winning awards, being in the finals twice at the International Ukulele Contest in Hawaii. And the other album is My Childhood Recollection, from which comes this track that was released just last year. Today's Singapore story belongs to guitarist Daniel Purnomo, and his Singapore story continues after the news in under 10 minutes. I'm Eugene Lowe for Singapore Stories on CNA 938. Singapore Stories with Eugene Lowe.
I didn't speak English back then, so I thought to myself it's good to to be exposed to another culture, and then yet at the same time I wanted to learn music, as in like I wanted to really study music. So that's why I enrolled to Lasalle. I got the opportunity to have to get a tuition grant, and then here I was in Singapore. Then I picked up my English here also.
Born in Surabaya, Indonesia, programmed to be an engineer, he lasted barely a month in the profession before he embraced his love for music fully and became a popular guitarist for hire in his own homeland. His desire for a proper musical education, as you heard him say just now, led him here to Singapore, where he studied at Lasalle before becoming a full-time musician and teacher here, and has been in Singapore for the past 18 years. Today's Singapore story belongs to Daniel Purnomo.
I work at some music school at the time, and then I did gig, and I teach, and so that's it. And then because of I think my nature is more inclined in music, so I was curious about doing some experiment with electric guitar, and then I try to play electric guitar with one hand, which is only with the left hand, so I can save my right hand. And then by doing so, I could, basically being able to play two guitars in one time. So I thought, it's still not very good yet back then. And now I'm still, learning and doing that. But because of that, I designed two necks guitar, which enabled me to play two guitars part.
Okay. But why two guitars? Does it sound like just, or is it because it's a different sound? One is electric, one is acoustic, or what?
Oh yeah, because it's like this. Usually guitarists, they play in the band, but with this one, I can play more complex. I can play the bass line, the chord, and the melody at the same time. I already could do that, with the fingerstyle technique, but with this one, I find it's more independence. It's like playing piano, the left hand and the right hand, they are very independent. For me, the logic is like this. Whenever I want to play one note on the guitar, I need two fingers. One is pressing fingers, and then one is plucking finger. But with this, I can just touch, and then it's got sound. So I can save one finger at least. So basically, I can save my right hand, and I can just play with the left hand on the electric guitar. So because I save my right hand, right? So might as well I build another guitar. Then I play two guitars. One is accompaniment, one is the melody.
Hence, your guitar has two necks. Is that correct? Is it called the neck? Or okay.
Yeah.
It's in one body.
Yeah, right, one body.
Nice. Okay. And in your time in Singapore, you must have had so many milestones, so many highlights. Can you share some of them that were particularly memorable for you?
Yeah. So I think this one is pretty much my highlight, the double guitar things, and then my encounter with ukulele. Because back then I wasn't interested on ukulele, basically, because it's like people say, oh, it's a toy instrument, So I thought, okay. And then at that time, there was a friend of mine handed me a ukulele just for fun. And then I played it. And then I was confused. How come I could play ukulele? I never learned. Until she told me, oh, actually ukulele is like a guitar. You couple, it's like starting from the 5th fret of the guitar, and then I need to eliminate the 5th string and the 6th string, then become a ukulele. Then I thought, oh, no wonder it feels familiar to me. And then she explained about how the ukulele system works. Then since then so I understand about what's going on with ukulele. But still I wasn't really into ukulele, just some knowledge. And then on the same year, there was an inquiry for me to teach ukulele to someone just called me, So I didn't have any ukulele, but I say yes first. Okay, I will teach you a ukulele. Then I bought the ukulele. So
quite by accident.
Yeah. And then starting from there, I was still into the touchstyle technique. Then I thought, hey, why not I share about the touchstyle guitar things, which I think is pretty much nice and cool, you see. I want to share to people about this so-called like a unique approach of playing guitar. So I joined PA, hoping that I could share this touchstyle guitar technique. But once I joined PA, maybe because they think, this is an interesting approach in playing guitar, so they took me in. I think that's my plus point. But at the end, the opportunity is more of a ukulele, ukulele demand. A lot of people, they like ukulele.
It's easier to learn and to play.
It is right, yeah, because like guitar is more threatening, more strings. And then the setup of my class, if I teach touchstyle guitar, so I need a lot of amplifier and sound system. So I think it's more difficult, and ukulele is more practical, affordable, and portable, right?
Okay.
Then I thought, since there's an opportunity, then maybe I just try first, I started at CUNCC and then Pasir Ris Elias CC. At the end, I end up at Bishan CC, which is very, very near to my home. Then, since then, I started from less than 10 students, and then it grew up until about 50 students. Slowly grow up, and then become 2 classes, and in total around 50 students back then. Mm-hmm. And I become more passionate about ukulele. Then I play fingerstyle ukulele. It means one ukulele, people can hear as if there are 2 ukulele players, because I play the melody and I play the chord.
Right.
And then in 2018, I entered an International Ukulele Contest, and then I got in as a finalist. So there were 6 finalists, and I got in. So I flew to Honolulu to perform there.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
nice.
So and then the way I found out about this competition, about this contest, was on the 31st December 2017. I was just came back from church service, it's like New Year's Eve. And then for some reason, I browsed about International Ukulele Contest on the internet. And I stumbled into this particular one. And then the registration ended, that's the last night, the last day, basically. So to me, then I just sent any random of my video, hoping nothing to lose, I just sent. And then, then I accepted as one of the finalists. Then I flew to Hawaii, to Honolulu. And then when the way they introduced me during my performance, they said, Daniel Purnomo from Bishan, Singapore. Yeah, because I feel up, I'm from Singapore, and the province, I know that there's no province in Singapore, but I thought that the system won't work if I didn't key in something, so I key in Bishan. Since then, the name of Bishan is mentioned in Hawaii. Yeah.
A track called Happy Sunday from his album My Childhood Recollection. It's a jazz guitarist and accidental ukulele player and coach. He teaches at the PA, or the People's Association, and he has been in the finals twice at the International Ukulele Contest in Hawaii. So have his students. Daniel Purnomo's Singapore story continues after a check on traffic. I'm Eugene Lowe for Singapore Stories on CNA 938.
On 2019, I joined the same competition, but I wasn't alone because I prepared a group to compete in the group category. So mostly they are from Bishan CC student of mine. So I trained them specifically. Then they got into the final also in the group category, and then I got into the solo category final also. So me and my group, we went there again on the 2019.
That's right. He and his students have been in the finals twice. Well, he twice, still how many? No, never mind, no math. At the International Ukulele Contest in Hawaii. And he's a jazz guitarist and accidental ukulele player and coach. He teaches at the People's Association, and he's also released 2 albums, a Christmas collection and My Childhood Recollection, released just last year. We're listening to his rendition of Burung Kakak Tua from that album. And his Singapore story continues here on CNA938. Today's Singapore story belongs to guitarist Daniel Purnomo. Wow.
And they managed to be the second winner in group category. And then we are grateful for Bishan East Zone 2 RC, because that's our rehearsal place, which is near the CC also.
Right.
Okay. And 2020, I didn't join because I've been there for 2 times. But I sent my group also, many of them also from Bishan CC. Then they won the second prize again. And then it's just nice. They went to Hawaii. They won the second prize. They came back, and then it's just before the circuit breaker. Some of the judges in the competition, when I wasn't there in 2020, right? They asked my students, "Hey, where is Daniel?"
Yeah. And of course, you've won other awards as well. I mean, you don't just play; you compose music, and you've won awards for your compositions.
Yes. Some of my composition, since the Lasalle time, at that time, I won the 3rd winner in songwriting competition. I think Exxon Mobil competition, songwriting competition. So I won the 3rd winner. And then I think NTU also has some competition also, which I joined. At that time, I just managed to go until final.
Over the years, as a musician, as an artist here in Singapore, you perform at live events, you get commissions and all that. You write songs and all that. You've also released an album. Is it 1 album or what?
Oh, it's 2 albums.
2 albums so far. Okay, so tell me about those albums.
Okay, the first one is about ukulele, ukulele Christmas fingerstyle. So it's released 2019 or 18? Oh, 2018, yeah. It's I name it Yuletide Holiday Mood, Usually it's supposed to be Yuletide, but because it's ukulele, so it's Yuletide.
Right, okay.
And then instead of holiday, this one is Holy Day.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's very punny.
It is, and it's memorable and unique, right? Just 2 years ago. Wow, that's great. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a festive album.
Yes.
And what about your second album? It was quite recent, right?
Yeah, the second album is about guitar. I name it My Childhood Recollection. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in this album, I played solo fingerstyle guitar. Some I did 2 tracks guitar. Some I was helped with a bassist, my bassist friend in Surabaya. So basically, they are all instrumental, and the song is from my childhood memory, or at least about it. Some of my original composition that reminds me to my childhood memory, and some is the song like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but I make it jazz, and some song also Burung Kakak Tua, the folk song, and what else? Some of hymns, church song which I grew up with, like Amazing Grace and T42, the public domain song, and what else? Yeah, basically I make a story there in in one album to depict what happened with my childhood.
That's great. And of course, this past year must have been quite not this year, but last year must have been quite a quiet year for you. But things are looking up again for performing artists and all. So can you tell me about these days what you are working on at the moment and what you plan to do in the near future?
Yeah, I am working on online teaching, and because last time when I taught at Bishan CC, that was more like a physical class, but since of the pandemic, they also moved to online. And I think the dynamic of online is pretty much very, very unique, because firstly, my student, a lot of them, they doubted, whether is it possible to do online teaching or not, but at least they tried. And then once they tried, they like it. Some of them, they say, oh, now I feel like I'm seated on the front row, because last time in the physical class, they need to be earlier to sit in front row, because they are very enthusiastic in the class. So they came early, and then they just stay and talk to within themselves, to keep on practicing, although time is already up. But that's why they doubted if suddenly now they couldn't meet up physically. But because of the Zoom, we still can have a lesson. And then the good thing is now is not only the nearby neighborhood, but as far as Bedok, East Coast, they can join the lesson also, which I think this is something unique, that now the program can be nationwide.
Okay, so all your classes are virtual right now?
For now, I have some private group and private students that they came, that they come here.
Okay, so the ones that are under PA are online, right?
Yep.
Okay, and they're ongoing all the time?
They are ongoing, and also there's something new also. I had the opportunity to teach for Merdeka generation. Then this happened this one is a new program from PA, which I teach in last December, which is last month.
Okay.
And this one is a fun thing also, just to introduce ukulele to specifically Merdeka generation, to make them, there's a good option for their activity, and it's pretty much fun, because they can in one lesson. This one is not the like Bishan CC. Bishan CC is like more like a course, every course 8 meetings, but this one with Merdeka generation is like one time off. So within one time, they don't need to have a ukulele background, but I teach from beginning how to strum, very simple one. So at the end, we all play Burung Kakak Tua. We play and strum and sing, which is very fun. So I really encourage people to pick up ukulele as a very easy and fun instrument. And you know what? This is the coolest instrument, because the name itself, ukulele. So this one is a good option for active lifestyle, fun and relaxing exercise through music. And beyond music, actually, they have a bonding, because they can, for themselves. And sometimes, frankly, my student from Bishan CC, outside the school, outside the lesson, they can meet up within themselves. They practice together, and so much, there's a strong bonding between them also. So I think it's good for everybody.
And before we close off the show, Daniel, can you choose a track from an album and tell us what it means to you? Why is it this special to you?
Sure. Yeah, from my childhood album. Okay. So the idea behind Morning Dew is the freshness of in our life. It means there's a new hope every time we wake up in the morning. There's a freshness. We see the beauty of the new day. And that's what I imagine, and there's a sunshine, and on the grass there are dews, and looks very fresh, and then we can hear the chirps of the bird. It reminds us there's a new hope, there's a new beginning, there's like a new breakthrough in our life every day. So it's kind of a contemplative and hopeful music there.
one of the originals taken from his album My Childhood Recollection, that's Morning Dew. And today's Singapore story belongs to Daniel Purnomo, who can play two guitars simultaneously, or just one specially crafted guitar with two necks. He has been in the finals twice at the International Ukulele Contest in Hawaii, and over 18 years in Singapore he's performed at countless venues, played with the best musicians, and teaches ukulele at the People's Association. And if you have a story to share, or know someone who does, email me eugene@mediacorp.com.sg. I'm Eugene Lowe for Singapore Stories on CNA 938.